We have so much going on in the world of crime across the fruited plain and indeed across the world, but I focus mostly here in America, almost exclusively. What are we even saying? Almost exclusively. We've got so much going on, so many cases that we're following, and lots of stuff that we're writing up on Crime Cod, for example, and sharing on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, following me on Facebook, please do so. The easiest way to do that is just go to my website, gavinfish.com. Click on the little fishy icon. That will take you over to my group, the Fish Tank. Anywho, so much going on, so many cases to talk about, but I am captivated by this case out of Ohio with the Siders family. Gary Siders, the elder, Christina Siders, his wife, Christina Siders, Gary Siders too. I don't know why that came into my mind, but yeah, Gary Siders the younger, and Elizabeth Siders, and oh my goodness, the comments that I've been getting on my posts on Facebook right now have I try not to deal in, I don't know, rumor. I don't want to deal in rumor, but the kind of things that people are sharing with me are bringing this case into greater focus for me. And one of the things that also did that is when Elizabeth Jones was on last Friday and she brought up, hey, have you seen the old picture of her? And this is a picture from like 2020. So this is 6 years ago. This is Elizabeth Siders, sorry. And she looks like a completely different person. And I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about what has happened in the 6 years between Happy Elizabeth Siders picture and Elizabeth Siders mugshot picture. We've got a lot of, we've got a couple of updates that have come out of some really good reporting by Lauren Conlon. So we've got some video to watch today. There is a motion for a gag order and a signed gag order in the case, in the docket of the case against Gary Siders the younger. So we're going to get into some court documents. Of course, we've got 3 questions. We've got some other headlines in cases that we are following. Guys, I might have a problem. Those of you watching the video, that is chocolate on my hand. I eat a lot of dark chocolate. I do. It's satiating to me. It tastes delicious and it helps me not snack so much. But yeah, I was snacking on some dark chocolate before we started. Where was I? Oh, okay. We've got some headlines in the Nancy Guthrie case, in the prosecution of Tyler Robinson, who is charged with and being prosecuted for the murder of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. We've got some news in the Karen Reed civil actions. We've got some news in the case against Brad Simpson and the murder of his wife, Suzanne Simpson. Of course, we've got some good news to talk about. So we got a lot, man. We got a lot. We got 10 pounds of content to put into a 5-pound show. So what are we waiting for? Why are we lollygagging? We should be neither lolly. No, stop that sentence right there, Gavin. Just stop it. Just stop it. We should not be dawdling. We should not be lollygagging. Javi, keep me honest. Let's get this intro going. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, hello there, my friend, and welcome back to another True Crime Conversation with yours truly. My name is Gavin. Thank you very much for being here. If you are new, you're not alone. You're not alone. On YouTube, the last time I checked anyway, which was earlier today, 65% of people who watch my channel, they're not subscribed. So I invite you, if I've earned it, to subscribe. And You can follow me on all socials, but if you're in part of the Rewatch crew and you have a Spotify premium membership, you can watch premium video over on Spotify. And by doing that and following me on Spotify, boy, does it help me out. So please do that if you feel like it, I guess. It's an invitation. It's not, that's all it is. It's an invitation. I like to start the video with a question of the day. I try to do it in the cold open. Why didn't I do it in the cold open, Javi? Yeah, I got ahead of myself. Yesterday's cold open was like 15 minutes long. I wanted to shorten it. So, yeah, anyway, what is our question of the day? Yesterday was a delightful one about music. Today, I was inspired to bring the question of the day because I was talking with some old friends, just chatting, texts, people that I've known since we were kids, and talking about the little bacterial outbreak that is causing explosive issues in the what my brother-in-law's brother would call the wastatory system. It's causing explosive issues across the states, and it appears that it is being traced back to a single Taco Bell, which just seems perfect, right? So, of course, these are people that have known me a long time and know things about me that I wish they didn't know. So that brings us to the question of the day. Put GF in your comment if you want me to read it. What's something an old friend remembers about you that you wish they'd forgotten? That is the question of the day. And of course, anytime you want to talk to me in the live chat, put a GF in there so that I can see it. And by the way, I love it when in the live chat you will put where you are tuning in from. Before we started the show today, just a couple minutes before we started the show, I started a poll. I am kind of hyper focused on this Siders case. It's just so fascinating to me, man. Plus, it's so tragic. We're talking about 16 kiddos. 16 kiddos. Rumors that she's pregnant again. She's given birth to 18, including the conjoined twins, 19, if we count the rumor that she was pregnant way younger than when she was married at age 15. There's just so much. This case is just, it's so tragic. The silver lining here is that the kids are out of the squalor that they used to call their house, right? This gross, disgusting place that they had to be in and were occupying, according to authorities anyway, a 12 by 12 room for most of 4 years. And if we put the timeline together, that's a couple of years after this picture of Elizabeth Siders, right? What a transition. What a transition. But yeah, the good news is they're no longer living in this filth. Hopefully they're in better places, man. Please be in better places, man. Just, ah. So, the poll that I put up, man, I go on these long tangents here. The poll that I put up is when I'm ready to pivot to another case, and of course, we can pivot all day long. We can go back and forth and stuff like that. Which case should I pivot to? There is one that is, oh, it's so tragic and haunting. The Javea Harris case, the case of a missing little girl. I think I don't have a button ready yet, but I got pictures and everything ready. So I can't show you, but little girl who was reported missing by her parents, a la, the oh, baby Emmanuel Haro kind of style case. And it turns out, of course, that her parents are now charged in the murder of their sweet little girl. And details have come out recently that they dissolved her in chemicals. Oh, so there's that one. If you guys want me to look at Nancy Guthrie, I'm happy to do that. If you want me to look at the Charlie Kirk Tyler Robinson case beyond the headlines, I'm happy to do that. Though I kind of feel like that's being covered really well by like Josh Ritter. He's doing such a good job. And so maybe just have him on to kind of bring us up to speed on the case. Maybe I could invite him on. I'll reach out to Tiff on that. Or another case. Put a GF in your comment. Another case that you're interested in us watching. And so far it's 37% Javea Harris, 36% another case, and then Nancy Guthrie 12%, Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson 15%. So yeah, thanks for that input on the poll. I really appreciate you guys. Let's see what you guys are saying as far as the question of the day before we really dig in here. All right. Robin said before we got started, I think as much as this case is horrible, I think Javea should be remembered, and I pray justice is given. Yeah, that is a case, man. Christine checking in from Marietta, Georgia, where it is raining. Gluten Free says audio starts mid-sentence. Are you guys having audio issues with me? I hope not. It looks on my end that everything is doing all right. Donna Barnes checking in from South Carolina. Mother Dragons, you can see the abuse in her face, talking about Elizabeth Siders, I'm sure. Yeah, while I'm not going to excuse the behavior that she is alleged to have participated in, I do think that she is a victim of coercive control and other types of abuse. Gluten Free, both her and G1 had mark on their wrists from restraints, which is why I think there was a lot of abuse present. Oh, like they started fighting with each other and therefore had to be restrained, maybe? Is that what you mean? It's possible that she was a teenager in that picture, now that you say it. Thank you, Sister Karen. It's possible. The picture was posted in 2020. But she doesn't look like a teenager in that picture to me. I don't know. I don't know how old she was in that picture. It was posted in 2020. Robin says, if you speak of chocolate, you should share with the rest of the class. I will gladly share what I do, guys. I really am in love with Ghirardelli chocolate, the 72% cacao dark chocolate. Unfortunately, it is extremely expensive. So I just have a little bit here and there. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Couple more things. Let me keep on scrolling. Kay Turrieta says, Gavin, have you noticed that family has no skin color, lack of sunshine, or they're Welsh? I don't know. Like I am the same way. I am. Yeah, that's the skin color of my dad, basically, right? It's magenta, is what it is. Yeah, I don't think they've seen the sun. I don't think G1 or Christina have seen the sun in years. Looks like Gary too has a little bit, but not much, and Elizabeth not much. You're right. Mother Dragons, Gavin, my 6th grade year. You don't want your friends to remember your 6th grade year. That's funny. How heavy and geeky I was answering the question of the day. Friends, things that friends know that you wish they'd forget. Ohio is checking in. Shoals, Indiana, checking in. California is checking in. Mary Shaw says, love the question, but soon to be 87 means all, and I do mean all close friends deceased. Oh, I'm sad for you. I'm sad for you. But how awesome is that you're 87 years old? That's pretty cool. That's amazing. I hope I'm 87 someday. I hope I make it there. Oh, it just refreshed on. Give me a second. Crystal Carter saying, what in the world did they do all day? The neighbors never saw them outside. They made no noise. 4 years doing nothing, no books, nothing. I think the answer to your question comes in the rumor mill, which is drugs, man. When I look at pictures like the one of Elizabeth Siders, the only explanation that I can come to there is drugs. And we've heard those reports of the employee or employees at the dollar store talking about, well, we'll get to that, but talking about how they would come in and they they'd have to try different cards, and they never had enough money and all that stuff. To me, drugs, drugs. That's what's going on. Mooney says, question of the day, Battle of the Bands at Louis Rock City. Didn't do well at Battle of the Bands there, Mooney? I find that hard to believe. Okay. Tina May says, this is the answer to the question of the day. I think you win today, Tina. Okay. Gavin, I wish that my friends would forget that I farted, unfortunately, so loudly while we were playing Manhunt in the pitch black woods. The only sound heard before the nonstop laughter. And of course, I was found and tagged. I was 14. What was the name of the game? You were playing Manhunt. Oh, dude. Oh, I'd forgotten. We used to have the most epic games. We called it Ditch 'em. But basically the same thing, and it wasn't in the woods, it was in the neighborhood. But that is funny. Tina May coming in for the win. That is funny. I love it. Love it. Fredonia, PA checking in. Dallas, Texas checking in. Is Elizabeth Siders the daughter or daughter-in-law? She is the daughter-in-law. Visiting from Colorado, says Lala Sal. Visiting kids in Colorado from Southwest Wyoming. Glad you're here. Gavin, there's usually an ad at the beginning, and when I click skip, you're already speaking. Yeah, okay. I see. Archangel says, please cover the case of Suchir Balaji. Hey, can one of you mods, one of you awesome mods, tell me or put that in Slack for me so that I don't forget? I will check that one out. Montana is here, no audio issues. Kokomo, Indiana here again. Mother Dragon says, would love you to go through and over the Heather Bogle case in Clyde, Idaho. Okay, so we've got another one. We've got Suchir Balaji, and we've got Heather Bogle. Liverpool is in the house. Northwest Iowa is in the house. Northeast Ohio is here. Becky Johnson said, I only have one old friend, and every year on her birthday, she reminds me that she's still younger than me. She also reminds me that I sang Ahab the Arab into a hairbrush. Are we talking, what is the name? Hold on. Don't tell me the name of that singer, because he did like the Blue Cyclone and Mississippi Squirrel Revival. Oh, come on. Ray, hold on. Ray Stevens. Is that who that was? It is. Hey, nice. From 1962. That's funny. I've got a friend that every year on my Facebook memories pops up a picture of her and me and our two other friends jumping off a bridge. And I remind her that you shouldn't jump off a bridge if your friends tell you that you should jump off a bridge. If your friends were jumping off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge too? Apparently for her, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. And you know what? She was the ringleader. I was the one jumping off the bridge. She always led us astray. Robin says, I think we know what they did every 9 months or so. After that, I'm not sure. That's funny. Christine Meadows, how in the world could they afford to use drugs? That's the point, is they didn't have money for other things. That's the point. All of the crime that happens surrounding drug addiction, it all tends to be petty crime, all for $10 here, $20 there, $50 there. It's all, and my eyes were open to this by interviewing Amanda Winkowski's sister. Just crazy what I learned from that case. Crazy, crazy, crazy. New member Arkansas in the house. Danny catching us from Yorkshire. No disrespect, but you're an extremely handsome man. That is not disrespectful. Thank you very much. It's not even disrespectful to my wife. Thank you. I appreciate that. I personally think my forehead is a little tall. And I think that once I lose maybe another 20 pounds, I might be able to to get away without having a beard full time. Having a jawline once again will be nice. All right, I think I've caught up. Sunshine saying, I truly enjoy watching your channel because you sprinkle some fun among sad, horrible, and evil cases. Appreciate that. I'm glad that you accept it for what it is. We can't always just be wallowing in the muck, right? Mystery in Motion. Gavin, did you know there is no way to distinguish between drug addicted states and mental health crises? I mean, you could test for what's in the blood, but I take your point. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for all of your amazing comments. All right. Let me check my agenda over here, make sure that I've got. Okay, we are going to start with about a 6-minute video. This is from Jesse Weber. Jesse Weber live over on News Nation. It's a 5-minute, 44-second video, and he is talking about this case with guest Lauren Conlin. And there are just a couple of nuggets from her reporting that I think are important to show. So let's just sit through this 5-minute, 44-second video, and we will talk about it on the other side. Here we go.
Ever since 16 children, ranging in age from 1.5 to 18, were allegedly found living inside a 12 by 12-foot room inside a dilapidated, feces-covered house in Hamden, Ohio, much of the reporting has focused on the background of the young mother in this case, Elizabeth Siders. But of course, as we know, Elizabeth Siders isn't the only defendant. She wasn't the only adult who was living in that so-called house of horrors. No, her husband, Gary Siders Jr., his parents, Gary Siders Sr., Christina Siders, they all live there too. They've all been arrested. They're all facing criminal charges. But now, LA Magazine contributor Lauren Conlin has been doing a deep dive into this case to learn more about the rest of the family.
I love Lauren, by the way. She's awesome.
It was possible for such alleged atrocities to go on for so long, and what she found out could change this case. Welcome back, Lauren. Good to see you as always. First, I just got to start with Gary Siders Sr. There's going to be an evaluation about the insanity defense, about competency to stand trial, which, by the way, is different than insanity.
We talked about this yesterday. Go back to yesterday's video if you're not sure about the whole insanity versus competency thing.
Just if he understands the case against him and can participate in his own defense. What's going on there?
Yes, exactly, Jesse. As you said, these are two separate issues here, and a judge has ordered evaluations on both. So one, they are ordering a competency to stand trial evaluation because per Gary Siders Sr.'s attorney, when he was initially arrested and he was arraigned, he had no idea what was going on. He couldn't really identify the judge's role, not even his own lawyer's role. And so as a defendant, you really need to be capable to help with your own defense, and they're not sure that that's going to happen. Additionally, the NGI plea is being explored because he will be evaluated to see if he was possibly mentally incapacitated during the time that this alleged crime occurred.
Right.
However, it does seem like, from what we know so far, this neglect or alleged neglect was ongoing. So we'll see what happens with that. But I mean,
Right.
Jesse, it does seem like, yeah, he might have some diminished capacity here.
And that's interesting for insanity. Usually it's about one isolated incident. If you talk about a prolonged period of time, you have to show that he was insane throughout that.
Which we talked about a bit yesterday as well, right?
Period. Let me ask you this, because the way this all started, right, early reports suggested that the first search, how this was all discovered by police, right, stemmed from a warrant for Gary Siders Jr.'s public indecency case. But I understand you learned that might not be accurate?
Yes, I thought it was from these charges as well. There's about...
Yeah, we all did. Or at least I did. I shouldn't speak for all of humanity, but I thought that was the case.
4 separate charges for public indecency in May of 2026, but his lawyers kind of spoke out and said, look, I don't think this is the case. I would be very surprised if this was the case, that, you know, these investigators showed up at the house kind of guns blazing, if you will, for a public indecency charge or two. So we don't know at this moment why they were at the house, but hopefully we will find out soon.
But just to be clear, they're not saying, oh my gosh, police didn't have the proper warrant, that the search of the property wasn't lawful. They're just saying if they went in, they probably knew something else.
Correct.
Okay.
It seems like at this point it was about something else.
Got
we
it.
just don't know what that was.
This is actually one of the supporting arguments for me about, like, one, I do think that at least Gary Siders Jr., the younger, and Elizabeth Siders and Christina Siders, I think, are all drug addicts. It's just my opinion based on their appearance, based on their home, based on what people are saying online about them. But it's possible that Gary and Elizabeth were also dealing, I think. I think that's less likely, but, I don't know. It's possible.
Local station WBNS 10 spoke with employees at a Dollar General who recognized the family. We've all been wondering, did anybody notice anything about them? So what did these people know in the store?
Yes, this is really interesting. I've seen several interviews with locals, and yes, including a Dollar General employee who stated that members of the Siders family, namely Elizabeth Siders and Gary Jr., would come into the store at night, is when they saw them, and there was a pretty terrible odor, to the point that this employee said she kind of had to Lysol when they would come into the store, and when they would leave the store. They would generally buy diapers and chips. Sometimes they wouldn't have enough money to pay. Again, their hygiene was very, very poor. But she said this wasn't uncommon because this area is just so impoverished. And Jesse, I've been researching the Vinton County, Ohio area. I mean, the median salary here is $55,000, and it's very, very small. I think this is actually the smallest county in Ohio. Additionally, only 13% of people there are college graduates.
And I wonder if that's going to be a defense. What else did you expect us to do? It's not like we were neglecting the children. This is the best we could do given the circumstances. We have 30 seconds, Lauren. You've reviewed.
What's really interesting is, like, a median salary of $55,000 isn't that far below the median salary of the entire United States, which is something like 63, right? Well, and across all workers, including part-time, the median is closer to 51. So, well, let's see. Full-time workers at 63. Across everybody, it's 51. Median household is 83. So, okay. So it's well below the median household. Okay. All right.
Facebook post from the niece of Gary Sr. and Christina. What have they said about their aunt and uncle? I apologize. We only have about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the niece is kind of speaking out, saying it doesn't seem like her aunt and uncle would neglect these children. So she's kind of thinking, is something wrong with them mentally? She did say in her experience that Gary Siders Jr. could do no wrong. He was, kind of like the golden child, if you will. So, I think that, again, I'm tracking everything on Facebook. I'm tracking what the family says, but until law enforcement confirms certain aspects of this case, so much is still unknown.
So much really is unknown, including if these allegations are true. How are they able to operate like this? Lauren Conlon, excellent reporting.
Lauren's awesome.
Thank you for coming on.
Lauren is awesome, and she's doing excellent reporting, and that's a very good point that she's saying. Like, yeah, people are talking, but until we hear it officially, there's nothing confirmed. It's basically what she's saying there. I think she did a terrific job in that report. Very fascinating that people are saying that G2, the younger Siders, was the golden child, right? We know that he has sisters. Maybe he's the only boy. Maybe he's the youngest. I don't know. I don't even know what it's like to not be the golden child. Guys, I can't even tell you. I am so far ahead of my brothers and sisters in the favorite category. If I called my mom right now and I asked her who her favorite child was, she would tell me, for sure, it's me. I could even do that. I'm not gonna, but I could. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being the golden child unless there's mental illness. And I think that there's definitely some mental illness issues going on with Gary Siders the elder and Christina Siders, and talking about the personal hygiene issues with G2 and with Elizabeth. If they walked in a store, you had to spray Lysol and stuff like that. I think that these are all just, once again, and they would be buying diapers and chips. Diapers and chips. An interesting combination. Maybe not any baby food, or but whatever. Diapers and chips is what they tended to buy, and they were stanky, y'all. They were stanky, and I think that just supports the whole notion that they were in an active drug addiction, uh, battle. They were actively using, and while that is sad, and I would wish that wouldn't happen to them, my bigger concern is the fact that there were 16 children that, according to law enforcement, occupied a 12 by 12 room for 4 years. So, yeah, I can't spill way all that much sympathy. Now, what else has happened today in the case? I did check right before. In fact, it's the reason that we were a little bit late today. I checked right before I went live to make sure that nothing else had been updated on the docket. Sure enough, nothing else had been updated. We just have one pair of documents that were filed in the docket in the case against G2, who we're now seeing shown as Gary Siders Jr. in official, like on this motion it says Gary Siders Jr., but on the docket it says Gary Siders II. It's weird. It's weird. But let me bring you over and we'll take a look at the motion and the order. Okay. I, by the way, not a fan of gag orders. I'm just not a fan. I recognize their utility. I recognize them being used properly in some cases, but here's the defendant's motion for a gag order. Now comes the defendant, Gary Siders Jr., defendant, by and through his undersigned counsel, who respectfully requests that this court issue a gag order to protect the defendant's right to a fair trial as guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 10 of the Ohio Constitution. Honestly, getting national attention in a case, and even local attention on a case, nary does mean that you won't get a fair trial. It's we all live in this crime bubble, and so most people do not. So here is the memorandum in support. On July 1st, 2026, several news stories broke about the instant case. Media outlets obtained quotes from the Ohio Attorney General's office, the Vinton County Prosecutor's office, and the Vinton County Sheriff's office. Yeah, as is done. Come on. Historically, criminal trials have been open to the press and the general public. Public scrutiny of criminal proceedings enhances the quality and safeguards the integrity of the fact-finding process, with benefits to both the defendant and to society as a whole, and fosters an appearance of fairness, thereby heightening public respect for the judicial process. The presumption of openness may be overcome only by an overriding interest based on findings that closure is essential to preserve higher values and is narrowly tailored to serve that interest. Therefore, trial courts have wide discretion. I love that. I hate the phrase wide discretion because it is used, it's overused within the legal. And the preceding sentence just said that the presumption of openness may be overcome only by an overriding interest. That is not wide discretion. That is narrow discretion. But okay. Therefore, trial courts have a wide discretion in being able to protect the judicial process from influences that pose a danger to effective justice. Pervasive, unfair, and prejudicial media coverage of a criminal trial may jeopardize the accused's rights to a fair trial guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 10 of the Ohio Constitution. Therefore, trial courts have a duty to protect criminal defendants from inherently prejudicial publicity that renders a jury's deliberation unfair. A gag order based on the need to protect the accused's rights to a fair trial may issue only if specific findings are made demonstrating that, first, there is a substantial probability that the defendant's right to a fair trial will be prejudiced by publicity that the gag order would prevent, and second, reasonable alternatives cannot adequately protect the defendant's fair trial rights. Sorry. And then I guess and then all of the, this is where that's found. In this case, defendant seeks to invoke the court's duty to protect him from the inherently prejudicial publicity that is currently circulating through comments made by public officials linked to the case. Unfortunately, the Ohio Attorney General's Office, the Vinton County Clerk of Courts, and the Vinton County Sheriff's Office have made statements that make it substantially likely that the defendant's right to a fair trial will be prejudiced. Okay, what, pray tell, are those statements? On July 1st, 2026, Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson. Let's get here's Andy Wilson. Remember, the Attorney General of any state or commonwealth is a politician, not the chief law enforcement officer, which is what the office is supposed to do. This is according to me, of course, but politician is what this person is, not anything more or less than that. Okay. So Andy Wilson published a news release on the Ohio Attorney General's website. In this news release, there are several inflammatory statements that can impact defendants' right to a fair trial, such as, quote, "This case continues to reveal the unimaginable conditions these children were forced to endure. I said yesterday that what investigators encountered was pure evil, and the evidence we've uncovered since only reinforces that assessment," A.G. Wilson said. Emphasis added. Another quote, "The conditions these children lived in were horrific, and we are sickened by it. Fortunately, this tragic chapter has closed, but their recovery will take time," close quote, Sheriff Kane said. These public officials were also quoted in numerous other national publications, making additional inflammatory statements that will unduly influence the potential juror pool. I completely disagree. That is what voir dire is for. Come on. Such as, quote, "Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children," said Vinton County Sheriff Ryan Kane. "Just a disgusting scene." That's finishing the quote. Another quote, "They looked like almost feral animals," Wilson said. "It was terrible." Vinton County Sheriff Ryan Kane called the home disgusting, saying it was littered with human feces. Well, there are photos, sir. Or madam. I can't remember who your lawyer is. He believes the children were being kept in a 12 by 12 foot room for nearly 4 years. Quote, "Some of these children couldn't even speak," Wilson told reporters. "It was terrible. They looked almost like feral animals. It was terrible." Wilson called the scene the worst he had ever encountered in his career, describing what he found as pure evil. Wilson said it was a good thing law enforcement discovered the children when they did, calling it an unimaginable case of intrafamilial child abuse. Quote, "I think they would have waited another 24 hours. I think if they would have waited another 24 hours, starting over, Javi, sorry about that. I think if they would have waited another 24 hours, there was a very high probability that we'd be dealing with the death or multiple deaths of these children," he said. Of the incident, Vinton County Clerk of Courts Jeremiah Griffith commented on the case in his role as volunteer firefighter. Quote, "It was not a pleasant environment. It wasn't clean or anything like that. I think our sheriff, Ryan Kane, he described it pretty well with our livestock lived better than what these children were in," close quote. It is worth noting that Mr. Griffith never mentions anywhere in his interview that he is the clerk of courts in Vinton County and will be processing documents in the case. It's not uncommon in small counties for people to have multiple jobs with the county. Come on. Okay, these statements have resulted in a substantial probability that the defendant's right to a fair trial will be prejudiced by publicity, something Gavin disagrees with wholeheartedly. And a gag order can prevent further damaging statements. This case revolves around the state of the children at the time this case was filed. The descriptions of the children that have been issued by the public officials involved in this case seek to do nothing other than inflame the heart and passion of the potential jurors. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. No, look, who are the people that have spoken? All three that you're talking about are elected officials: the AG, the sheriff, and the clerk of courts. I don't think that he's mentioned the prosecutor here, Mr. Archer. But the three people that we've talked about so far are all elected officials. The biggest incentive that they have working on them is re-election, not inflaming the heart and passion of potential jurors. That is just stupid. It's dumb. The descriptions of the children that have been issued by a public official in this case seek to do nothing other than inflame the heart and passion of the potential jurors. Bullcrap. No. Let me rewrite that sentence. The descriptions of the children that have been issued by the public officials involved in this case seek to help them in their re-elections whenever that time comes. They are politicians, sir or madam. Come on. Okay, continuing here. These concerns are amplified by the nature of the small community in which the instant case occurs. Guys, look, you guys know I'm a local reporter in a small place, okay? I don't know. It might be about the size of Vinton County. Vinton County, Ohio population. Let's see. Okay, it's about twice the size of Vinton County. Still very, very small in terms of population. Okay? And I will write these reports on heinous crimes, on trials that are taking place in the courthouse. And there will be, like, I don't know, if the trial is 2 weeks long, then that means there are at least 10 reports. And they were preceded by probably 10 before them. And then at sentencing, there will be another one or two, right? And still, I will talk to people who have no idea that that's happening in our town. Have no idea. So this whole idea that if you put information out about the case, you won't be able to get a fair jury is hogwash. It's absolute tripe. Just dumb. Dumb. Have I said that enough? Dumb. Okay. Continuing the motion, there are no other reasonable alternatives available to adequately protect defendants' right to a fair trial. Unfortunately, a gag order is the only mechanism available to the court and defendant to preserve his constitutional right to a fair trial. Wherefore, the defendant prays that this court issue a gag order preventing the Ohio Attorney General's Office, the Vinton County Prosecutor's Office, and the Vinton County Sheriff's Office, and any other officials or individuals involved in this matter from making statements to media outlets or posting news releases that contain statements that impact defendants' rights. Respectfully submitted, R. Lee Roberts Jr. Dang it, Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts, you and I have something in common. We both go by our middle names. Our parents definitely didn't love us enough. I mean, I am their favorite, but it wasn't enough. Going by our middle names, this is tough. This is the J.G. Wentworth situation. I haven't forgotten about that. Thank you, Mooney, for putting that in Slack. Haven't forgotten about that. Just haven't had time yet. But R. Lee Roberts. Now, what I find interesting is that there are 4 defendants, each being represented by 4 different, if I remember correctly. Let me just go back to my browser history and just check on that here real quick. Let me go yeah. All right. I'm just gonna actually, you guys can see what I'm doing here. This is court view. So we're gonna go Siders family, criminal, search, and okay, so Christina Siders is case 51. Let's see if there's a there should be. Yeah, okay, so we've got Kendra Roberts. is Christina's lawyer. Then we've got Tom Stoley is Elizabeth's lawyer. Then we've got Dorian Keith Baum is who is this? Gary the Elder's lawyer. And then, of course, we've got Gary the Younger, who is Lee Roberts. So there are 4 different attorneys that are representing 4 different defendants in 4 different cases. And this is the only case where a gag order has been requested. And again, I mean, I can go through again to look to see what, has been filed here. This is Gary the Younger, and he has the motion that we looked at and the proposed order. We're going to get to the proposed order. Gary the Elder has nothing new besides the appearance of counsel from yesterday. Elizabeth, I think, is the same kind of thing. I think yesterday, appearance of counsel was posted yesterday, and Christina, same thing, appearance of counsel, notice of appearance of counsel was posted yesterday. So nothing has been filed in terms of a gag order except in the case of the younger Mr. Gary Siders. So, okay, now the next part of this, though, is a little bit of a, I guess I'm confused a little bit, and I hate to come here with questions. Maybe those of you that are attorneys present can tell me. I think this proposed order is an order now because it's been signed by the judge, but it's titled proposed order. Okay. So Ohio v. Siders, this matter is before the court on defendant's motion for a gag order. It's titled proposed order, but it says so ordered, and it is signed by Judge Fetherolf Rogers. So the matter before the court on the defendant's motion for a gag order, the court finds that given the publicity thus far, that any statements made to the media by the Ohio AG's office, the Vinton County Prosecutor's Office, the Vinton County Clerk of Courts, and the Vinton County Sheriff's Office, and any other party related to the investigation or prosecution of the alleged crimes, including defense counsel, would create a reasonable likelihood of prejudicial pretrial publicity, which may impact the ability to impanel an impartial jury. The court finds the following least restrictive and reasonable constraints are necessary to avoid the potential prejudice, whether real or perceived, to protect the judicial process. They're not real. They're only perceived. Therefore, in the administration of justice and to protect the rights of the defendant from prejudice during this proceeding in the interests of the state, the court hereby prohibits all parties to this action, any attorneys and respective staff connected with this case in any manner, all court personnel, and any public official from disseminating information and or commenting, discussing, or otherwise opining on the merits, defenses, facts, or any other matters relating to this case outside of the hearings in this matter and or pleadings to be filed in this matter. So that order is well beyond a gag order from talking to the media. This is like, unless you're in a hearing, no talkie, no jibber jabber. Unless you're in a hearing or you're filing a pleading, the answer is no. How about no? Right? And I think because it's signed by the judge, it is ordered, and therefore the gag order is in place. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. Let me head over to the live chat. So I've got to keep using my cough button here. Let's see. Surth River says, I don't think you're necessarily correct about drugs in the Siders case. Their talk screens were clean. Surth River, where are those talk screens? And I'm not asking to be snide. I'm not being disrespectful. I want to know where the talk screens are. If you would do me the favor of reaching out to me through my website, gavinfish.com, Or you can put it in the chat here if you have a link handy. But if you go to gavinfish.com, I'll bring it up here so you can see it, and click on the little envelope icon right there. That will take you to a form where you can send me in any information that you have. If anybody knows, I haven't seen any documents about any talk screens. Was it part of the hearing? Maybe. I'm just curious what you think. I always reserve the right and privilege to be wrong. And gladly admit when I am. So send those in to me, and I would really, really appreciate that. Gluten Free says, I think we need to wait to have more facts before any speculation. This isn't fair. I mean, I try really hard not to be captain speculation on a lot of this stuff. But I mean, it's our First Amendment right to wonder about these things and to state our opinions. Becky Johnson, they weren't in that small room for 4 years. The younger two didn't move there until January of 2025. Yeah, I mean, obviously they wouldn't have all been in there. They were being born and so forth. And the 2025 move date is, at least to my knowledge, is based on information that was given to hospitals, but I don't know how accurate that is. Mother Dragon says her eyes kind of look like it was healing from a black eye. I don't know if my eye's playing tricks or screen not bright enough. Does she look like she has a black eye? I don't know. She definitely has bags under her eyes. I can't tell if that's shadow or not, but I certainly wouldn't put it in outside the realm of possibility. Divas, New York. Gavin, if your other siblings called your mom right now, would she tell them that they're her favorites? How dare you? How dare you even call into question that I am my mother's favorite? Of course, she would say, no, Gavin's my favorite. Because I am, and my mom is an honest person. My mom is as honest as the wind-driven snow is pure. Okay? Penguin says, you said yourself that G2 and his family only moved in just over a year ago, so you can't say that they were in the house, never mind the room, for 4 years. Okay, I said in the last video that it was reported that the hospital gave an address that was not the address in this house. That is true. And I also didn't say, well, maybe I did say, if I did, I misspoke. The sheriff said that. The sheriff said they were in that room. If I said that and I was reporting it as if it were fact, then that's my bad. That's not the way it is. The sheriff said they were in there. And thanks for calling me out when I'm wrong on that kind of stuff. Just Missy says, a lot of what is being said is speculation. I'm a nurse who works with drug addicted population. Elizabeth does not look drug addicted. Okay. I am a reporter that sits in courtrooms all the time covering crimes related to drug addiction. To me, she does. But that's just me. Surth River, what if she was kept blindfolded and that's why her eyes are all red all around? I think that's less likely, Surth River. Just Missy, I believe the loss of the twins in 22 caused some kind of breakdown in Elizabeth and maybe the whole family. That's possible as well. Sure. Mid-show greetings from Central Texas. Thank you, Miss Chivos Dragon. Keep on scrolling here. Kay Bling says, I truly love wallowing in the muck. You're in the right place, apparently. I believe you stated prior that all four had different attorneys. Yes, and they do. They all four have different attorneys. We verified that. A couple more comments here. It has been alleged that the children were confined. There really is no evidence that this is so, is there? It has only been alleged at this point. Correct. Only alleged. Dana, 16 kiddos and no chores? I wish they would have created a better and clean environment for their children. Pray for all of them. Yeah. I honestly think that there was a combination of mental health crises and active drug addiction. A place doesn't look like a home. It looks like a trap house. That's just my honest assessment of it. Inspired Indigenous Insight says maybe she had high risk pregnancy, so she was transported to different hospital, hence different hospital. Maybe. I have heard she may have pink eye from living in human waste. Also a possibility. Yeah. Lots of lots of um, lots of possibilities in this case, and it's just so tragic, just so sad. The silver lining is that those 16 kids are not in that home anymore. Hopefully, they are in better homes where they are lovingly cared for. Other than this, yeah, I respect you too, Just Missy. Sure. That's a great comment. Being a reporter in court is not the same as working face to face with hundreds of drug addicted people a week. Respect your comment though, and I respect you as well. Thank you. Okay, so that is our update on the case. Right, we've got this motion for the gag order. It appears that we've got the order in place on one of the 4 cases. Of course, I think that I I, I think that if an elected official were to say, okay, well, I'm only going to talk about Elizabeth Siders here, that would be breaking the spirit of the gag order. And I would expect over the next couple of days that we will see the same types of gag orders in the other cases. I'm guessing, but we shall see. Now, what else do we have on the agenda? And shout out again to Lauren Conlon for her amazing reporting. She's done a terrific job on this case so far. So, let's see, coming up, we've got some true crime headlines. We've got the Nancy Guthrie case, the Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson case, Karen Reed case, Suzanne Simpson, Brad Simpson case. We've got some good news coming up. But before we do any of that, y'all, how about we hop into our 3 questions? Here we go.
3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Okie dokie, guys. In this segment, I answer 3 questions that were sent in by you to me. And I promise that I will answer them completely. I will not dodge any questions. I will answer them all, but I get to choose the order in which I answer them. Sometimes I find little themes. Yesterday's theme about music was fun. Today seems to be, well, it's starting out a little more nostalgic. I guess nostalgia is maybe the theme of the day. So let's bring up question number 1 from Cindy. Is there a high school or college course you regret not paying closer attention to? This is a course you would repeat for useful life knowledge and better grade. No, I pretty much did well in school. I don't know. I will tell you this. Okay. My senior year of high school, I had to fill up my schedule, and I had already taken 4 years of French, and I thought, well, I will take another. Well, I'd taken 3 high school years of French, 1 middle school year of French. So, so I decided to take French 4, thinking, okay, that'll be an easy class. I didn't need to be there, was the thing. My senior year of high school was superfluous. Very grateful to my mother for making me go to school that last year. I wanted to go off to a junior college, but I made some of the best friends of my life my senior year of high school, so I'm grateful for it. But that class I did not pay any attention to. I did not do anything in. I dropped out of it, I think, after the quarter, and just gave myself another open period. It was so maybe taking that a little bit more seriously. I do not speak French. Yeah, it is a language that I'm interested in speaking, though. Maybe need to add one more thing to Gavin's list of things to study. I'll tell you what I do with the other. I've been doing this lately. ChatGPT has been awesome for me because I can have a conversation about topics that I know nothing vocabulary wise, and I can have conversations before I have to have those conversations with real people. And that helps loosen my tongue a little bit, helps me to kind of get in the groove a little bit. That's been pretty fun. So maybe I need to, I would like to learn French. That'd be fun. Okay, and I should have paid attention. You're right, Cindy. I should have paid attention. By the way, bonus points for you guys should be asking these or answering these questions in the live chat too. I want to hear what you have to say. Put a GF in your comment. Question number 2 from Kelly. Have you had any scary moments driving through the mountains or anywhere else with your family? Actually, yeah. I'm working on a historical piece for my day job right now about a tornado, an F4. Is that what they call them? F4 tornado, category 4, F4. I can't remember. Tornado that came through eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania and back in 1985, killed a lot of people. We did not take tornadoes all that seriously. In fact, when I was growing up in California, we didn't take earthquakes all that seriously. Yeah, we did the whole, drill, get under the desk, get in school, and all that stuff. But we didn't take earthquakes all that seriously. And so we didn't really take tornado warnings or tornado watches all that seriously. So a couple of years ago, actually more than a couple of years ago, our son had just started driving, and we had our whole family in the car driving in our SUV, and there was either a tornado warning or a tornado watch, and we were just like, oh, that's over there. We can get home. We had about an hour and a half drive to get home, and we went out into the weather and to try to drive home. And I think that we were lucky to have made it home. A big branch of a tree fell on us, fell on the car, and yeah, that was scary. And it was, a 16-year-old kid driving. And what I did is I had him pull over, and then I started driving. Then the branch fell on us, and then I just found a place that I felt was safe. Yeah, that was pretty scary. Whew, yeah. Tell me your scary moments driving in the mountains or anywhere else with the family. Question number 3. If you could be best friends with any celebrity, sports star, or politician, who would it be? I am not a lifter up of celebrity or athlete or politician. So it's not that I am super fanning or anything, but who would I choose if I grew up, like Richard Pryor, I get, or Ed McMahon probably has a story or two, or had. He's passed away. We got to go with like current people. So, who seems cool? What's his name? Hold on. My name is Muerte. Stanley Tucci. Stanley Tucci just seems like a cool dude. Immensely talented. Seems like a cool guy. He's had a life that has known tragedy. Speaking of lives that have known tragedy, Martin Short seems like a cool guy to be friends with. I don't know. I don't really think about in those terms, but I guess that would be my list. Somebody smart. Somebody who's obviously smarter than me. Those are the kind of people I like to hang out with. Those guys are your 3 questions. Don't forget, you can send 3 questions to me at 3questions@gavinfish.com. And don't shirk your responsibility in the live chat. Tell me what your answers are to these questions. Who would you be best friends with, celebrity-wise, politician, sports star? Do you have any scary moments driving in the mountains or anywhere else with your family? And what high school or college course do you regret not paying closer attention to? And while you do that, we're going to hop into some headlines.
Headlines.
Okie dokie. Join me, if you will, over here on Acrobat. This from Fox News, written by Adam Sabes or Sabis. Pima County Sheriff issues warning over Nancy Guthrie QR code scam. This irks me. This makes me so mad, guys. The Pima County Sheriff's Department is warning people about a new scam using Nancy Guthrie. Oh my goodness. In a statement on social media, the Pima County Sheriff's Department said it's aware of posts about the Guthrie investigation that include a QR code requesting money. PCSD will never ask for money related to this case or any investigation, the department said. The agency advised people to not send money to people you do not know or scan QR codes requesting payment, and ask that they report such posts if they see them. I cannot believe that people are doing that. Of course, anyone with information about Nancy Guthrie's disappearance can call the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-4900 or 88-CRIME at 520-882-7463. Digital photos, video, or doorbell camera footage can be submitted through the FBI at fbi.gov/find Guthrie. And I wish people I wish some people were better. Oh, my goodness. This one from the New York Post. Taxpayers could end up shelling out more than $10 million for lawyers to defend accused Charlie Kirk killer Tyler Robinson. Indeed, this is the system that we have. Mr. Robinson is indigent. He has been given counsel. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. Utah taxpayers could end up shelling out more than a mind-boggling $10 million for Tyler Robinson's lawyers to defend him in Charlie Kirk's assassination, according to experts. The whopping potential cost is possible because of the nature of such a sensational capital murder case where the stakes are as high as it gets, with the defendant's life on the line, and there are likely years of appeals upon conviction, they said. Robinson's stonewalling lawyers, quote, are litigating anything and everything to try to bring the prosecution to the table to offer a life without the possibility of parole deal, said Nima Rahmani, a prominent former prosecutor with no ties to the case, to the Post on Monday. So yeah, it is costing taxpayers, he said, of the drawn-out process, which most recently involved Robinson's preliminary hearings. But what do you expect the defense to do? They're playing the hand that they're dealt, right? And it's not a good hand. Utah County Commission approved an initial $1 million in funding last year to pay the salaries of both Robinson's high-powered lawyers and the prosecutors of the case. The county lawmaker then said in February that an additional $1 million would be needed from the state for the lawyers, for a total of at least $2 million, after the county had already paid the defense team $349,000. So yeah, it's just gonna click, 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 click. That's the nature of our system, and I don't have a problem with it. He should be given a good, competent defense. Turning to Karen Reed. Written by Phil Tenser for WCVB, Karen Reed seeks dismissal of defamation lawsuit. This is just standard practice, but I thought I'd bring it up. Dateline Plymouth, Massachusetts, one of the many lawsuits involving Karen Reed, returned to court Tuesday morning, this very day, after she asked a judge to dismiss allegations of defamation filed by witnesses who testified during her criminal trials. Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert, Colin Albert, and Brian Higgins filed the defamation lawsuit against Reed and Aidan Kearney, the blogger known as Turtle Boy, in April. Reed was found not guilty of murder last summer after her second high-profile... Gavin, try again. Reed was found not guilty of murder last summer. We don't even need that. She's still being sued by the O'Keefe family and is pursuing her own case, alleging that others were responsible for O'Keefe's death and a subsequent cover-up. Kearney was a vocal advocate for Reed's claims, and prosecutors alleged that the two communicated about the case sometimes through third parties. Kearney still faces witness intimidation cases stemming from the events. So they have filed a motion to dismiss. The case will likely survive it, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we've got good news coming up. I forgot to open it up, but I will go and open it up. This from Express News. Judge in Brad Simpson case sets deadline, preps for a long trial. Written by Elizabeth Zavala. The Gavin, slow down. The judge presiding over the case against Brad Simpson, who is charged with murder in the 2024 disappearance of his wife, on Tuesday, set a series of deadlines for prosecutors and defense lawyers heading into what he said is likely to be a lengthy trial. This is going to be a long trial, said District Judge Joel Perez. State District Judge Joel Perez told prosecutors and the defense team during a status hearing as he set deadlines for prosecutors to hand over evidence to Simpson's attorneys. Why that hasn't been done yet, I don't know. Paris told the attorneys to be ready by Friday for updates on the case and set another status hearing for 45 days for both sides to get up to speed with evidence that could be presented in court. A formal trial date has not been set. Yep. This is standard practice, right? Standard practice, setting dates, we'll meet them or we won't, and they will keep on going. And I was about to say, guys, those are your headlines, but those are not all of your headlines because we've got good news. Hey, Wanda, while I open this up, can you give us some good news theme music, please? Some transition music?
Turn it on, hear the good news calling. Bright blue skies and the rain stops falling. Everybody singing, everybody moves. Nothing feels better than good news.
That's great, Wanda. Thank you very much. This, guys, you know I'm a sucker. You know I'm a sucker for animal-related news. I love this stuff. This from people.com out of Maryland. Shelter's longest reigning dog adopted after 7 years waiting for a forever home. Oh my goodness. Tell me more, people. Staff, look at this picture. Staff at a Maryland shelter shed tears as the dog they'd looked after the longest left with his new owner. On Sunday, July 12th, the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty, the SPCA of Arundel County, Maryland, announced in an emotional Facebook post that Kylo Jace, the shelter's longest reigning resident, was headed to his forever home. There were no dry eyes as Kylo headed home with his owner on Saturday, July 11th, after 7 years in the Maryland shelter, a moment that was captured in several photos the nonprofit shared to the post. I want to see the post. Let's see the post. Let's see. Yes, okay. Going over here. Look. Okay. No, look at, oh, they're crying. Okay. This is delightful. This is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Just adorable. They're going to miss little Kylo. So sweet. All right. One snap shows the shaggy, multicolored pup with his tongue out as his new owner smiles and wraps their arms around him. In another shot, the newly adopted dog is in the back seat, seemingly about to head home. Several images also show individuals wearing clothing marked trainer and volunteer shedding tears as they say goodbye to Kylo. The SPCA was the canine's home for 7 years, in part because he takes a long time to build trusting relationships, according to the Post. Quote, Kylo is a dog who takes many meetings with someone in order to fully trust them and feel comfortable enough to show his true, silly, wonderful personality, the nonprofit wrote. Over the years, he had specific volunteers and staff who had earned his trust and would take turns walking and caring for him day after day since his list of approved friends was a shorter one. So we knew it would take a very, very special person to put in the time and effort to earn Kylo's trust. Then his new mom came along. Heart emoji, the post continued. It took 7 months of twice weekly visits with Kylo for his new owner to earn the dog's trust. Slowly but surely, the owner worked her way into his trusted inner circle, per the post. Quote, our team even worked to ensure he was comfortable getting into her car, doing home visits before the big day, etc., and he officially left the building that he has spent the past few years in for the final time yesterday, the SPCA said while announcing Kylo's departure. Let's see. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to finish the whole thing. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, and we truly are in cloud nine, knowing he gets to spend the rest of his life loved for exactly who he is, the nonprofit continued. None of this would have been possible without our absolutely incredible volunteers and staff who put their heart and soul into Kylo's well-being for the past 7 years, and for his new mom for taking a chance on a dog that many others probably would have given up on for an easier dog. The SPCA of Arundel County also noted that the pup's adoption fee was fully paid for in memory of Jim Ehring, a former volunteer with the organization who died in 2020. Ehring was a fan favorite of Kylo's, who passed away. The shelter noted on Facebook, we know that Jim would be so happy to hear Kylo's happy ending. That is happy news that is causing me to get a little choked up. That makes me so pleased. And when you read a story like people scamming other people using Nancy Guthrie's disappearance to do it, and you just get so frustrated with people. And then we have this story where we're seeing the exact opposite. Wonderful, wonderful people going about doing good things for, in this case, little shaggy dog. And that makes me super, super happy. And though that's why I share these headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okie dokie. Couple of a couple comments. Gluten free. No drugs were found in their system, so we can put this rumor to bed already. Okay, I would love to. Where's the report? Somebody sent it my way. I would love to see it. In fact, let me just check to see if anybody sent it while we were doing the stream through the old website of Rooney. Does not look like it. So I don't have it yet, but I have not seen any talks reports or anything like that. Admittedly, I have not. I probably have missed it. Maybe have missed it. We will see. Just Missy, welcome to Fanatic. Right in time, because tomorrow we're doing a members only and Patreon only after show. So thank you for joining, and hope to see you tomorrow night after the regularly scheduled program. Gluten-free. Joseph Frizzle's daughter was imprisoned for 2 decades by him and forced to have 7 kids with him, and no one treated her the way that Elizabeth is being treated. So am I one of the people that is treating Elizabeth poorly? Is that the deal here? I feel like I'm being fair, but I might be wrong. Mary Shaw says history, and ironic because I went on to take history classes that I loved. Love American history. Yeah, that's funny. That's a good answer to the question. Gavin, I should have taken French class, says Melissa. Yeah, what's funny is I took French for 5 years. Well, not, I should say 4 and a little bit. And then went on to live in Argentina where I had to learn Castilian. It's hilarious. Melissa says, we're very serious about tornadoes here in Arkansas. My mom's basement is 14 feet next door to me. Very smart. Anna says, I should have taken Mandarin in school. Driving with my kids for the first few months of driving is truly terrifying until they figure it out. Man, you are not wrong about that. Scariest mountain drive was when my family came across a cougar in a tiny car. I bet that was scary. Ava says driving in Knoxville, Tennessee area is horrifying. My husband just kept saying how pretty it was and he wants to move there. I was holding on for dear life. That's funny. George Carlin, says Joanne. Yeah, that'd be a cool guy to get to know. He had a unique view of the realities of life. Man, he surely did. Gavin, didn't you say you loved Demi Moore? Well, I respect Demi Moore. She's a great actor. My goodness. But no, she's not on my list of like, like childhood celebrity crushes or anything. No, the celebrity crush that I had growing up was Jennifer Connelly. But who didn't? She's a beautiful woman. And I was a red-blooded American boy, right? Wanda saying can't stand attorney Kathy Nestor. You had enough of her on Corey Richins' case, probably, right? Sirth River says they probably don't get welfare because the state would know they had 16 kids. Possibly. Christine Meadows, also welcome to you. Thank you for joining. And just in time for you as well. Tomorrow we have our members only and Patreon only after show. A. Heineman, if there was drug paraphernalia in the Sider's house, would there be charges to reflect that? A very good point. A very good point. In my experience, the answer to that question is yes, there would be. Very good point. I have to rethink this, guys. Have to rethink it. Thank you very much for that comment. A. Heineman. Very good. Becky says, I hated history in high school, could not get into it, took it in college, loved it, learned so much. Then 40 years later, back to college, had the best professor, but loved it because I had lived it. That's pretty cool. That's a great comment. And it's a good comment to end the live chat on. Guys, don't forget that you can listen to this in podcast form wherever you get podcasts. If you are in the rewatch crew and you're a Spotify premium member, please, please, please go watch it on Spotify. It helps the channel immensely. Follow me there. For the 65% of you that are watching and are not subscribed, I invite you to consider subscribing. That would really help me. It's free to do, and it helps the channel grow, and it helps me get the word out to more and more folks. And then remember that I hang out on Facebook in the fish tank. It looks like this. If you just search, fans of Gavin Fish, or easier yet, go to gavinfish.com, click on the little fishy icon, and that will take you to the fish tank where we hang out on Facebook and talk about things true crime. Got lots of stuff going on in there. And I just, other than that, guys, just really appreciate you. Just really appreciate you. Thanks for all you do. We will be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on this channel. Until then, I bid you adieu. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.